1 year since COVID-19 upended life as we knew it. A virus that began half a world away was suddenly at our doorstep, and seemingly overnight, difficult decisions had to be made. Doors were closed, kids were sent home from school, faces were covered, and toilet paper mysteriously left the shelves. It's been scary, it's been stressful, it's felt never-ending. We can't take a look back at this past year without recognizing these struggles and honoring those who lost their lives, those who lost loved ones, lost jobs, or just plain struggled. But in looking back over the year that none of us will ever forget, we find silver linings. Parents had more time at home with their children. Businesses got innovative and found new ways to get things done. And the Chesapeake community truly stepped up to help one another, proving time and again why we're called the city that cares. The Chesapeake Health Department, city employees, and Chesapeake Regional Healthcare came together, building upon an already solid foundation of partnership, and responded to the pandemic in a way that our community could be proud of.
I am extremely proud and fortunate as two things at once. We really are a family here, and that is just a really good feeling because we can reach out and say, okay, I need ideas, and they respond. All of our partners rose to the occasion. We have not encountered any pushback from our partners being pharmacists, healthcare providers, the city departments, the Unified Command, from community groups of volunteers. There have been no no's. It's all been yes. What can we do? How can we do it?
Those yeses turned into new programs that literally saved lives. When the winter months hit and church shelters were no longer an option to keep our homeless community members safe and warm, the Chesapeake Area Shelter Team had to get creative.
Ever since the last cast season ended in April, actually we ended early in March because we were unable to, the COVID hit and we were unable to house folks in churches. So churches have been closed and they're just unable to put people in their facilities. So thankfully Mary and the city of Chesapeake stepped up and found some funding, and we have 30 motel rooms that we can house 60 people, which is great because it's more than we housed really in cast, because we only did about 50 folks for cast. Unfortunately, we're not able to house children, which is a concern, but 4 kids is going to hopefully step up and be able to meet that need.
And that's a nonprofit that is
You bet, here in Chesapeake.
located in Chesapeake, yes.
Right. So that's a great thing. So the motel program has been excellent. For 60 people, it's been great. They're getting a great warm place to stay, showers, microwavable food, and so it's been great.
Many of those who were able to stay in their homes still faced hardships like furloughs and layoffs, all while the bills kept coming. So in stepped the Federal CARES Act. Chesapeake gave out thousands of dollars to those who needed help paying rent and utility bills, a small but significant boost just when our community needed it most. And it wasn't just individuals or households who needed help throughout the past year, it was also our business community. When small businesses started to feel the strain of COVID-19 restrictions, economic development found themselves searching for any way to help out the little guys. From free 15-minute chats to pop-up offices to a small business grant that proved to be business saving for so many.
Our small business recovery grant program has been phenomenally successful here within the city of Chesapeake. You know, when we started that program back in June, we weren't sure exactly how COVID was going to impact our business community, but we were starting to feel the effect of it. So when we instilled that program, the businesses were extremely responsive to it. And so far, we've been able to help over 250 businesses, but we're not done yet. So we're really excited about what the program has done for our business community. They're still struggling right now, and originally the program was really designed to help businesses just survive COVID. But I think in the long run, we're going to see stories about how businesses used the grant money and they used it to adapt and pivot in the way that they provide business and services to their customers.
And just like all businesses, the city too had to adjust its efforts to continue providing essential services while keeping employee and community safety in the forefront of every decision. A major part of that safety came in the form of masks, gloves, cleaners. All of those supplies had to be purchased, organized, distributed. And for that, the Office of Emergency Management mobilized their logistics plans, which brought trained staff from several departments together to tackle the challenge.
So as you can see, we house the fire department supplies here. We also house other agency stuff here, but this has become now a COVID-19 supply warehouse, and we're functioning like a dual role here, where we're still supplying the fire side, and we're now supplying the whole side with the city of Chesapeake, and all the department heads come in here and get their supplies, send teams down. So as you can see, we're housing not just fire, but a whole lot of COVID supplies that have been coming in and continue to come into this incident's over. First wave was making sure we had enough paper products, toilet paper and paper towels. And as you can see, we really stocked up on that. But other things are like gowns that the firefighters wear or other departments wear to protect themselves. And then we have a lot of gloves. We have a lot of hand sanitizing wipes and a lot of sanitizing sprays to disinfect other vehicles and offices and stuff like that. In the very beginning, my team, we were being very proactive. We saw kind of the storm coming, and so we started getting supplies in here to get us through the first couple of waves that we're getting ready to hit. And then as this propelled forward, more supplies came in, and as you can see, we're stocked, ready to go, and to get us through phase 1 and phase 2, and we're completely supplied to make that mission happen.
But not everyone needed to work in person covered in PPE. Teleworking became the norm for many, and our community expanded their use of online services. And throughout it all, the city kept running.
One of the ways we were able to successfully manage and maintain services throughout the pandemic was because that's who we are. It's in our DNA, is we are a culture of serving our community, and that commitment we take very seriously. We try to honor it every day. And so we really had to try to strike the right balance of doing the right thing for our customers and the right thing for the community, and doing so in a way that kept our community safe and secure. We did that by relying on relationships. We've got decades of planning for emergencies. No emergency quite like this. However, the relationships between our emergency management, our elected officials, our community leaders, our health departments really kept us in good stead during the pandemic. So we were able to rely heavily on those relationships. A lot of trust has been developed over the years, a lot of processes and practices and protocols that we were able to deploy to deliver services through this unique and challenging time. In addition, we have very entrepreneurial staff members, from the directors all the way down throughout their teams, and we constantly had people innovating and providing ideas, because again, they approach their business as experts in their business, but with that passion for public service. And so every single day they would be filtering ideas through the team of, this is a way that we can think. Either it's a best practice that they saw somewhere else that they thought we could adapt to Chesapeake, or ideas that were unique to Chesapeake. I'm very proud to say we were the first city in Virginia to reopen to providing services after the governor lifted the initial declaration allowing us to get back to some normal business. And although we've continued to provide services throughout the pandemic on a modified basis, we were the first to welcome the public back into our facilities. We've not had transmission in our facilities. We've continued to do so safely. We learn, adapt, and respond, and that's really the key to any challenge, but specifically through this pandemic.
We truly rediscovered the beauty and splendor of Chesapeake's outdoor space over the past year. When the only safe place to be was outside, our parks, trails, and waterways became welcome escapes from the pressure and worry of COVID-19. The Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Department helped us find our inner kid by encouraging safe outdoor play and by bringing the fun directly to us. The Chesapeake Public Library, another extremely social department, also had to make major adjustments. When the libraries were closed, staff was making masks, launching curbside pickup, and featuring storytime readings online. Without a doubt, the biggest adjustments came from our schools. COVID-19 presented the Chesapeake public school system with the most difficult of decisions. How do we educate our children in a pandemic? Laptops went out, teachers stepped up, and parents were given the choice: in person or at home. But what many of us didn't realize was that school is about so much more than homework and tests.
When we closed a year ago, we right away went into protecting and supporting our families immediately. We started providing food the whole time. Our food services department did an outstanding job making sure that we provided food to our needy families throughout the entire pandemic. Our school nutrition employees were working constantly to provide this support. And then we linked up with our great community. We actually had community members, churches, and other community members reach out to say they want to support our families. And we said, you know what, our families need more than just food support. They need hygiene supplies, they need other supports, and the churches and community members joined with us to go to those sites to provide those materials and supplies to all of our families. And it was such a great example of how our community comes together to support everyone. And we're really proud that we were able to provide this service to our families throughout the entire closure, and then of course moving into this school year. And early on in this process, I said that the best judge of our success will be how we treated our children and how we cared for our children, and I'm happy to say that all of us working together, we've done an outstanding job of meeting that goal.
To say it's been a hard year would be an understatement. COVID-19 undoubtedly changed the way we operate here in Chesapeake. Some of those changes are positive and will serve as one of the legacies of the pandemic. As we honor the struggles of the past, we look forward to continuing to build a Chesapeake that is economically strong, culturally diverse, and environmentally responsible, making Chesapeake an exceptional place to live, learn, work, farm, and play. So here's to all of us for surviving the past year and for continuing to prove that Chesapeake is the city that cares.
The Chesapeake Fire Department is teaming up with the National Fire Protection Association to promote this year's Fire Prevention Week campaign, Cook Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen. This year's campaign aims to educate everyone on simple but important steps that they can take to protect themselves and those around them. According to the NFPA, cooking is the #1 cause of home fires and home fire injuries in the United States. Almost half of those reported start in the kitchen. 2/3 of cooking fires begin with the ignition of food or other cooking materials. Cooking fires can quickly grow, and I've seen many homes damaged and people injured from fires that were easily preventable. Here are a few tips to keep you safe in the kitchen. Never leave cooking food unattended. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling. If you have to leave, even for a short time, turn off the stove. If you're simmering, baking, roasting, or boiling food, check it regularly. Remain in the home while food is cooking, and use a timer to remind you that you're cooking. You have to be alert when cooking. You won't be alert if you're sleepy, have taken medicine or drugs, or consumed alcohol that makes you drowsy. Always keep an oven mitt and pan lid nearby. If a small grease fire starts, slide the lid over the pan to smother the flame. Turn off the burner and leave the pan covered until it's completely cool. Last of all, have a kid-free zone of at least 3 feet around the stove and areas where hot food or drinks are prepared or carried. It is our hope that you will embrace this tasty advice and serve up fire safety in the kitchen.
Don't just learn history, live history. At the Great Bridge Battlefield and Waterways Museum, you'll experience life in 18th century Virginia. Discover the water that defined the landscape. Visit a colonial tavern and find yourself in the middle of the Battle of Great Bridge. Your next adventure begins at the Great Bridge Battlefield and Waterways Museum. All COVID-19 safety precautions apply. Go to gbbattlefield.org for more information.
Mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 58 years old.
This disease just ravages a family.
It changes your life. If we work together, we can stop this epidemic. Now is the moment.
Contact Bright Focus and learn more.